I've just returned from a trip to Atlanta where I visited with my family and my son, and it didn't turn out at all the way I expected. I did have a good time most of the time I was there, but I felt uncomfortable. Um, I just felt like I was being psychoanalyzed, scrutinized, and it was and distanced. My family was keeping a distance from me, and they've never done this to me before. And when I went to hug my son, he'd never returned the hug the whole time I was there. And I could sense a strange spirit. It took me a while to figure it out, but after a while I figured out that I was being psychoanalyzed. Apparently Zach Knight's campaign to have me labeled as a paranoid schizophrenic has been very effective because he's convinced some members of my family now that it's true. These are family members who have not seen me on a day-to-day basis like my mother has. I do not believe my mother believes I'm paranoid schizophrenic. But these are family members who are only familiar with me from the internet and from brief visits with me when they come down to see me, so they don't really know me. And Zach Knight has got them convinced that I'm paranoid schizophrenic. Apparently, they've been reading some of the stuff at Crazy Gail Wiki and these other sites. All sorts of stuff was happening. We would go out shopping to the mall, and I just felt like it was like I was scared to open my mouth. Like anything I said or did was like, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that. That is so inappropriate." It's like I think I mentioned the word menopause one time, and the relatives just jumped all over me about like, "Oh, you should not have used that word, not in public. You don't say the word menopause in public." It's like, and I was thinking, wow, they give me a bed down in the basement where I'm supposed to sleep, and they keep their television down there, and they'd all come down there to watch TV. Well, when I had my tampons and my mini pads and my underwear all over the bed, and yet they didn't seem to think it was inappropriate to come down to the area where I'd be sleeping, where I had all my stuff laid out with the underwear and everything. That wasn't inappropriate. Yeah, for them to come down there and invade my privacy by seeing my underwear and everything out there, watch TV in front of me, but yet to say the word menopause is inappropriate. Let me tell you, me personal opinion, I'm a kind of a hang loose kind of a woman. I don't really care if they see my underwear on the bed or my tampons and stuff. But I just thought they were being kind of hypocritical. So, they jump all over me because I use the word menopause in a conversation at this, I don't know. I think I just mentioned that I was in menopause one time. I wasn't planning on going into big, long, detailed discussion. It was actually a bit of a joke. I was being jocative. Apparently they don't appreciate that kind of humor. I was cracking a joke with them about being in menopause. And it was like, "Oh, you shouldn't have said that. That's inappropriate." So I thought, oh dear, man. It's like, where's their sense of humor? And it's, I guess you're mentally ill if you want to crack a joke about menopause, So, but yet it's okay to go to my bedroom downstairs where I have my tampons laid out and my underwear, and for them to all show up and watch television with my stuff, my private stuff displayed all over the bed. I thought, my goodness, this is a double standard here. It's okay for them to come and look at my underwear and my tampons. You say, well, maybe you should have put it up. I was trying to organize my suitcase and they all just showed up. You say, well, to be honest with you, I don't really give a flip whether they want to see all that stuff. But I just thought that, I thought they were being kind of hypocrites. And finally, I came to the conclusion that they really did believe I was crazy. They believed all this junk that it's probably because they've been going to my website and they're reading about how I claim to have a relationship with Brent Spiner, Vladimir Putin, and all these people. There's no way she could have had a relationship with those people and brain-to-brain sex. Well, everybody knows there's no such thing as that. This is where Zach Knight is being so brilliant, man. He's taken all the stuff that's true but hard to believe and playing on it, saying, what he'll do is he'll take stuff that's true and uses the shock technique. It's like, Gail believes there are clones. Hey, folks, maybe there are clones. Gail believes in brain-to-brain sex. You know there's no such thing as brain-to-brain sex, right? So, oh, Gail believes that that everybody's after her. Well, maybe all the Jesuits are after me. They admitted their website, I'm their #1 target. So what they're doing is taking stuff that's true but hard to believe and getting really melodramatic about it and saying, she has to be crazy because you know there are no clones. Folks, there are clones. You know there's no such thing as brain-to-brain sex. Yes, there is. And you say, oh, and you know the verse numbers in the King James Bible cannot be inspired. Yes, they are. And for instance, I told my son, I said, I think it's mighty strange that I'm going to be 57 years old in the year 2015. And I was born in September 15th, 1957. And I think something, and I believe, you know, in my book, Silver Skies, I claim the rapture is going to happen in May because Song of Solomon chapter 2, verse 9 and 10 indicates a springtime rapture. Find it interesting that it's verses 9 and 10. I was born September 15th, 1957. So I told this to my son when we were talking together with him. I said, Mom, that's just a coincidence. The numbers in the Bible are not inspired. And he swears to this day that he's never had an interaction with Rule 13 and Brianna Jenkins Schuler, even though Brent Spiner and Terrence Jenkins would swear that he did. You say, well, how do you know that those aren't fakes talking to you, that you're not being trolled? Well, if they're fakes, they could win an Academy Award. That's all I can say, okay? An Academy Award for performance. Because we've been having church services on Skype where Satan's actually showed up and Jesus Christ has come to rescue him. And I've had to listen to Terrence while he's been talking and praying. All I can say is, if Terrence Jenkins is a troll and he says he's a judge, he's in the wrong profession. He should go into acting. He's really good. But I don't think he's a troll. First of all, why would they create a whole website to communicate with me if they're fakes? They actually created Vladimir Putin actually created a website for me where dedicated, it's called churchofgail.com. I don't believe fakes would go to that much trouble. And if I'm mentally ill, why have the Jesuits created Crazy Gail Wiki? The whole website. I mean, you know how many people they've probably had to employ to create this website? How much work is involved in making that website? They've put hours and hours into it. Hey, Jesuits, if I'm such a fake, and if there is no Fox News, Gabriel Chana News Channel, then why? And if there is no Vladimir Putin and Brent Spiner in love with me along with these other celebrities, by the way, I don't really give a flip whether celebrities are in love with me or not. And I don't like the limelight. The only reason I'm going public is because Jesus wants me to, because I need to educate people about Jesuits so we can defeat them because they're evil and because they want to take over the planet and set up their concentration camps like they did with Adolf Hitler in World War II. And because Zach Knight's the Antichrist and people need to know this so they won't be duped by him in the future. I actually would just love it if I could just go off in a desert island somewhere and get away from all the crowds, and it was just me and Brent Spiner. We could have a honeymoon, and there'd be not a Jesuit in sight. But I know I'm dreaming. That'll probably never happen while I'm on Earth. You think I like all this publicity? I hate it. You say, well, why do you make all these YouTube videos? I have to defend my men and to defend Jesus Christ. But I hate it. I would rather just be a private little nobody and just have Brent all to myself and go off on a honeymoon with him on some desert island and say, goodbye, world. Me and Brent are going to have one big, long honeymoon and everybody's going to leave us alone. But it's never going to happen. I hate being famous. You know what? Brent told me they had a Nobel Prize ceremony for me when I was at Atlanta attending the graduation for my son. You know what I told Brent? I said, I could care less. I really don't give a flip whether I get the Nobel Prize or not. You say, how could you say that? It's such an honor to get the Nobel Prize. They've been trying to give that to me for years. The Jesuits keep bombing everybody and blowing up buildings so they can't give it to me. I don't give a flip. The only prize I care about is the one I'm going to get when I'm in heaven with Jesus Christ. When he smiles at me and tells me he loves me and he says, well done, good and faithful servant. That's the only prize I care about. Everything else is crap.